Mickey Thomas.
Hello, Toastmasters. My favorite quote. Remember this, Mickey. There was a man who loved you unconditionally. Remember this always. When I was down to the darkness, that voice always came up to me. Those words were said, whispered to me by my deceased husband. What is it? What is unconditional love? I always wondered, because my love for him was quite conditional. Have you ever loved something, especially somebody, unconditionally, accepted him or her the way they were? I can even hear his voice. Remember this, always. There was a man who loved you unconditionally, honored you, respected you. Remember this always. That was the fire, the energy which carried me today. And when I get somewhat depressed, then I go into silence. Then the voice comes back to me. So I am a very blessed person.
Thank you, Mickey. And for those of you who don't know, Mickey is our contestant next week, and will be representing the 408 We'll be representing our club at the area contest. So I wanted to make sure I got a Table Topics tour this week.
Thank you.
90% of success is just showing up. 90% of success is showing up. A quote by someone maybe unexpected. You know who said that?
Daffy Duck.
Close. Woody Allen. I'm trying to see who hasn't had much. Everyone's played well tonight. How about Jessica? Would you like to tell us your thoughts on 90% of success is showing up?
Success is showing up. When I think that, or when I hear that, I think of school. I hated going to school. I hated going to YSU. I hated going to the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science, but I needed to show up to be successful, to do what I'm doing now, to be able to accomplish my goals. Some nights, no offense, I'm just tired. I kind of dread coming out here. But to succeed, I need to show at least, I guess, 90% of the time to work on my public speaking or my one-on-one to get more comfortable and have more self-confidence. So when I hear that, I just think of myself and how I had to show up to school, to this, to work, to become successful.
have to fear is fear itself. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Cynthia.
Fellow Toastmasters, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That's pretty much how I felt the very first time when I made contact with Toastmasters. I sent out an email, I received an email from Dina, and she said, just come on in, and this is a place of learning and to better yourself, leadership skills, and things of that nature. When I pulled in the parking lot, I sat there for a few minutes and I said, I know I need to do this. I know I want to do this, but it was that fear inside of me that just kept in my ear. And then something on the other side of me said, get your butt out of this car and just go on in. So I did. I walked through the doors, and everyone in here made me feel very, very welcome. And I enjoy being here, and I have learned to overcome my fear, and the more I come up here and speak, the more comfortable I get. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And how are the evaluators doing? Ready to take on a challenge? An easy one?
Super easy.
Everyone's ready.
Super easy. I know Joe's always up for something.
Super easy. Yeah.
Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. Joe Hart.
Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Another way to put that is you eat an elephant one bite at a time. I think it's important to keep this in mind. JC, I guess, has never eaten an elephant before.
No.
I think it's important to keep this in mind when starting a new task. Cynthia, you've got a lot of speeches to do, but guess what? It starts one at a time. It starts by just taking that step by coming in here and showing up. If you look at a task that you have to complete, and you think about, all this work I got to do, look at all the things I got to do throughout this next year, why worry about that? Just worry about today. All that work is stuff you're going to do in the future, not right at once. You obviously can't do everything at once. It just takes one step at a time. So focus on just the next 24 hours. Focus on just the next step. And that's how you get through things. That's how people accomplish great big things, by just doing one little thing at a time and breaking it down. If you've got something that's really stressing you out, maybe you can break it down into smaller steps. Just write it down on a piece of paper and say, okay, what steps do I need to take to get here? And just take that first step. And maybe cut it out and post it where you can see it and think about that step over and over and over again. And only once you complete that step would you think about going on to the next one. Roy rode across country on your bike, right?
One pedal at a time.
One pedal at a time. When you were riding across the country, were you thinking about your entire ride, or were you thinking about the next mile?
I was thinking about eating.
If any of you guys have ever taken on a big physical task, you can kind of directly relate this to this, right? If you've ever done like a long workout, or ridden your bike for thousands of miles, or gone on a long run like a marathon, you can't think about the whole 26 miles, or the whole thousands of miles, or the whole hour workout. You have to think about the next rep, or the next step, or maybe the next mile. Just get yourself to that next step that you need to go to. Well, this is also a spiritual thing too. If there's maybe a project you have to do coming up, or if you have to give a speech for Toastmasters, you can do the same thing. One step at a time. Just get to that next mile marker. What is that next mile marker? It's your next speech. Maybe it's not even the next speech. Maybe it's just sitting down and planning out how your speech is going to look. Or maybe you're just going to get on and look at some YouTube videos of other Toastmaster speeches. Journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. Thank you.
Timer, how are we doing?
Is that since we have 3 evaluators and it's about time.
It's about time. I was gonna give you one more if we had
Yeah,
time.
we have time.
Well, give him one more,
Each of them
as long as it's not me.
later. If you don't mind, since Mickey is competing next week, I would like to give her one more.
Oh, I'm going to do
Yes.
one more.
I'm gonna give you the Trixie's one. The Emerald Tablet.
Emerald tablet.
The Emerald Tablet. It's the oldest book that we have. And there is a quote that I love to think about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard it. You might not know that it's from the Emerald Tablet. It's as above, so below. Mickey Thomas.
The topic reminds me of a physics, and I failed in that subject as a high school kid. And so, to me, what is obvious as above on this physical plane is a reflection of invisible. So we have the power to attract the life's experiences or events. That's something I have embraced as my truth. And if you don't like what you are experiencing, I cannot blame them or there. It's all coming from within. What I'm thinking, how I'm feeling is showing up. So, as what you said, as above here is a reflection of invisible. By having this philosophy of life, I cannot blame anybody, anything but me. By having this attitude, I know I can correct them.
Yeah, Mickey.